Bonneville, where are we?
We're on Ciao Bella.
What are we doing?
We're sat having a coffee.
What are we doing?
The podcast. I thought you meant literally what we're doing.
Dear
We're having a coffee.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Good afternoon,
Good
even.
afternoon.
As I say, I never edit this, so whatever comes out of Mrs. B's mouth just stays in. Our little fur baby's down beneath us. He's probably going to cause some mayhem and havoc. Come on, Kenneth, come and sit down. Sit down. There's a good lad. Yes, if you're new around here, this is our monthly podcast where we answer your questions that you very kindly sent into this email address beneath here now. It's darrenevans05@gmail.com. Shall we make a start, Mrs. B?
Yes.
These questions this month are brilliant. Now, if you're new around here, why are you new around here? You should have been with us from the beginning, so come on, like and subscribe and all that stuff. We have one rule. Mrs. B does not know. You're going to have to trust us. Mrs. B does not know 99.9% of the time what the questions are.
Correct.
We don't duck any question. What I have to do sometimes, I should say, with the edit, all I've done here is just take the questions from the email address straight onto the iPad. What I sometimes have to do is edit some of the language. So if you are one of those folk that have sent a question in and I'm reading it out and it's been edited, it's because your language is a bit choice. But we don't duck anything. So, are we ready? Let's have a little slurp of my coffee.
Apparently, Darren said some of these questions are...
Oh, I shouldn't say it, but this I think is the best bunch of questions we've had. And there's one right at the end that will, well, let's just say, put a smile on Mrs. B's face. Right, here we go. This is from Martin and Kathleen Cuthbert from Cheshire.
Nice.
Thank you for the weekly uploads. You're more than welcome. We really do enjoy them. Silly question, really, but we'd love to know how you would rank the following types. I love this. The following types of holiday and what you take with you to read. We have been married for 30 years, and it's the only thing we really argue about. We argue about everything. No, we don't. So, rank the following type of holiday from first, most favoured, to 5, would never ever consider, and why you've ranked them at that number. Mr. and Mrs. B, you say you never duck a question. We don't. We think we know how Mr. B would rank a few. We are dying to know how you both rank these. We know it's not a boating question, and it really is just for fun. Please keep the great work up. Right.
Oh my goodness, this is very good, very
holiday
good.
Holiday types.
Okay, go on then. Go on.
So we've got beach, lakes and mountains, city breaks, cruise, and an activity, example, mountain biking or golfing.
Oh,
so you've got to rank those in
you
terms
won't do the golfing one.
So you go first.
Okay, so the first one was a beach one, wasn't it?
So you've got beach to choose from,
right,
lakes and mountains.
Beach first.
Okay.
Lakes and mountains.
Well, why beach? You have to say why.
Oh, sorry, why beach? Because I love swimming in the sea, but only swimming in the sea when I can touch the bottom. And being on the beach, having a sunbathe and a swim. And Kenneth loves the beach, so we'd love to take him on the beach. So that's why I like to have a sunbathe and stuff. So the beach one. Then the lakes and mountains, because we love walking. So
this is about you.
Because, we like walking.
We do actually, but this is about you.
So, and then we've got then a city breaks. I will have a city break next, because we do enjoy... Oh, do I want city breaks? Yeah, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say yes to city break next, number 3, but I'm going to include village breaks in that as well. So it could be a village. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're going to the beach or the countryside, we're going to like a village or something. So, and the reason why I like that is because I love exploring. I love finding out a bit of a history where we're going and then going to see it. So that'd be really good. So that's number 3. Number 4 was a...
You can either have cruising or an activity.
It'd have to be activity, because I don't really fancy a cruise. So activity. And what activity would I do? Horse riding.
And then obviously last one is cruising.
Cruising.
Very good. Mine are definite lakes and mountains. I absolutely love being in the Alps. It's my favourite place on earth. Second one would be activity. So mountain biking, I'd love to go at kind of an electric mountain bike. Golf, not a chance. You know my views on golf. So that's my second. Third would be a city break. Because they, like Mrs. B, like mooching around cities and exploring kind of the shops and all the culture. Fourth would be a beach. Because yeah, I mean I do like the beach and I do like going in the sea, but I get a bit bored sitting all day on the beach. That's not for me. And yeah, cruise. I couldn't. Not for me. Cruising's not for me. Why is it not for me? I just wouldn't like the thought of being herded onto a boat and being stuck with 4,000 or 5,000 people for a couple of weeks and then all that stuff that comes with it. So not for me. Right, reading material you would take on holiday. Rank these and why.
Oh, right, so we've got a list as well.
Daily Telegraph, Private Eye, National Geographic, a red top paper, or a good puzzle book.
Oh.
You have to excuse Kenneth, he's ragging his toys.
Can I just look at them because I keep forgetting what the choices are. All right, okay. So I would go then Daily Telegraph would be the first one. A good puzzle book would be my second. National Geographic. I'm going to go for a red top as number 3, only because I sometimes like a bit of gossip and stuff. Then National Geographic, and the very last it would be Private Eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, Daily Telegraph. Why? Because I think it's a great read.
Oh yeah, I didn't say why, did I?
Yeah, I suppose that does show what my political allegiances are. Second would be National Geographic because, well, I used to subscribe to National Geographic for years. It's a fantastic read, in my opinion, if you like travel and all things kind of geography. Third would be a good puzzle book because, yeah, nice to keep your brain stimulated on holiday. Oh, God, I couldn't split these two. Fourth would be a red top. I don't like anything to do with red tops. I think they're rags. Private Eye, don't get me on Private Eye. I think I wouldn't put it on the toilet roll, to be perfectly honest with you. There you go. Why? Because I think it, my view, it's just my view, I think it vastly exaggerates things and it's left-wing political. Anyway, that's my top 5 and the reasons why.
So we're not really, we're similar-ish, aren't we, on what we like?
Yeah,
not-
kind of, yeah.
Kinda. We like the first one first.
We like the first one, and that's about it, really.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's a
think
good question, Ralph.
It
Very
is
good.
brilliant question.
Very good
We
question.
love questions like that.
Yeah.
Thank you ever so much, Martin and Kath, for that one.
Thank you.
Second question. Sue and Mark Shrivin from Anglesey in North Wales. Beautiful part of the world.
Wales, yeah.
We have just come across you both and absolutely love what you do. Thank you. And how you do it. Keep it up. Really is great stuff. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
We had a wide beam for 10 years. Brackets, also an Aqualine, as we think they are also the best fit out by far. Close brackets. And had to sell it and come back up home to look after my father. He passed away recently. Really sorry to hear
Sorry
that.
about that, yeah.
And we are now in a position to get another wide beam. It, of course, will be an Aqualine again. Just wanted to ask if you'd sell your boat to us. No. Where are you going to go? No, it's not for sale, but thank you for asking. And also for a little more insight into why you wouldn't recommend retiring on the Marina you were on. Apologies if this has already been asked before. It has. And Sue, my wife, also wants to know what size your bed is. It looks huge. And if you would ever consider 2 bedrooms. If not, why not? Thank you ever so much in advance. So, the bed is a super king size. It's not a king size, it's a super king size. It's
Fabulous.
an enormous bed.
Yeah.
And we love the bed.
Yeah. We can be right separate when Mr. B's snoring his head off.
Let me just deal with, you can talk about the 2 bedrooms, I'll
Okay.
deal with the retiring.
Okay.
I don't, as I say, I don't duck anything, and I'm not looking to offend any folk that are retired on this Marina. My wife is one, Mrs. B is retired here. In no particular order, I'm 54, I know it's not young, it's not old. I've worked very hard, I've had 2 careers, I had my own business for a long time, I sold it, and I've had a corporate career for not that long, and I've worked jolly hard to get to a senior position. So I'm not ready to retire yet, not a chance. But I couldn't retire here because I would be, Mrs. B will be nodding, I would be bored silly here. is not enough for me to do here. There's not enough to keep my mind occupied. I couldn't sit on the boat and just do nothing. But it's not me suggesting this isn't a great place to retire. It is. It's just not for me. You know that, don't you?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just not for me. But I want to stress, I'm not knocking it for those folk that, do want to retire and live on this particular marina or any marina. Just not for me. It would drive me to distraction.
It doesn't sit down, or it's
I don't.
very rare.
I don't.
Very rare.
I
doing
just
things all the time.
Someone said to me recently, "Oh, why don't you ever read a book?" I read probably about 300, 400, 500 pages of stuff at work every day, and that keeps me stimulated. That's what stimulates me. So anyway, I hope that helps. I'm not criticising the marina, or retiring on a boat. It's just not for me. 2 bedrooms, yes or no? For me, it's a no.
No, we like the room. And we've said before, if we have anybody coming to stop, then we would have a sofa bed, because there's enough room to have a sofa bed. But we tend to have people coming over for like day trips and stuff, don't we? And if my family come over, my sister's on about getting one of the lodges for a long weekend. So that'd be nice. We can get rid of them in a lodge.
Yeah, same as Mrs. B. Look, we went for this boat. I know you're new to the channel. We went for this boat because of the layout and the space. A second bedroom from us would just take too much space up.
Yeah, we like it.
And we just love this space.
Yeah.
And equally, the only time I would consider a second bedroom is if we knew we were having friends or family over for at least maybe 6 months of the year, not at once, then I would get a second. But if for those
intermittent.
if they're just coming over 3 or 4 nights a year, it's a waste of space. So for us, it's a no. Yeah. That's why we went for
like
this.
The space.
Yeah, we love the space.
We like the space rather than we like visitors.
Yeah, but we're off to a B&B.
No, I'm only joking there to my family and stuff. I'm only joking. We love having you here.
Sue and Mark, thank you.
Thank you.
Next question is Edward, in brackets, Eddie, and Molly from Market Drayton in Shropshire.
Eddie and Molly.
We were through there recently, weren't we?
That's right, yeah.
Don't know how you two haven't been picked up on a TV channel. We do. So bloody funny. Thank you. Please keep the vlogs coming, as these podcasts, they really are entertaining, so very funny, and actually very informative. Informative? That's not a word that you would attach to us too.
Thank you for that very much. So, Eddie, thank you.
So Eddie and Molly, they've put, we'd love to know if you have any update on the diesel stove situation. We also have a wide beam, excuse me, that is currently down on the K&A, and as soon as our house sale goes through, fingers crossed, we should be liverboards like you pair.
Nice.
Can't wait, we really can't.
On the K&A as well.
We'd like to know, and we've broke all protocols here because we've asked many questions. You certainly have, Eddie and Molly. So we would like to know, how long did the conversion take? Did you have a day tank? If so, have you taken it out? How much, sorry to be cheeky, and the main reason for doing it. And coal or wood. Lots of questions, really sorry. But we really would like to know, as we're considering doing the very same thing. Cheers, you guys. We really love you, and please keep these great videos coming every week.
Thank
you. Not a problem. Do you want to deal with that?
You deal with it, yes.
So,
by all means.
How long did the conversion take? We are going to do an update on the actual stove, so please don't worry about that. It took two and a half days from start to finish, but as I say, we will do a proper little vlog on it. 2.5 days. Did we have a day tank? If so, did we have it taken out? Yes, we did have a day tank on the boat, and yes, it was taken out. I don't know whether that was the right thing to do. That's not because we're going to get that converted back. Not a chance. We've been running the stove a couple of days now. God, it's lovely. It's just really, really nice.
It's here and I can feel it's right nice and warm.
And I know it's time of filming this. It's only September, end of September. The cold nights, cold days haven't arrived yet, but we know we've made the right decision by going back to multi-fuel. How much? Well, I'll be honest, it was about 1,500 quid. So, but we were lucky, we'd already got the Morso Squirrel stove. So we just had it converted. Now, some people will be rolling their eyes going, oh my God, what a stupid amount of money to be spending. Well, you know, greatest respect, it's our money, and we wanted to get it done. And we are really pleased.
Yeah.
Really pleased.
And I've now can build a really good fire.
More to come on that.
Mr. B showed me, so I might do a demonstration.
Okay, let's have the fire extinguishers checked and ready. And main reason for doing it, good question, Eddie and Molly. The main reason for doing it is, yes, we love a multi-fuel in terms of what it can offer, and condensation. We said last year when we went through our first winter on the wide beam, the condensation was an absolute joke. And we know, because we've had a multi-fuel stove before, some folk will say diesel are fine, but the diesel stove on this for us just wasn't pumping out any heat, to be perfectly honest. It was nowhere near warm enough for us. So we know running this, come the cold days, cold evenings, we're not going to get hardly any, if any, condensation. So that's the main reason, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's nice and warm.
Yeah. And what are we burning? Well, we're burning a little smokeless briquettes of coal. We will probably burn the odd, log, whatever. But 99% of the time, it's coal that we're going to be burning. And hope that helps and answers all of those questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie and Molly.
Bruce and Catherine Moss from the Canal du Midi.
Ooh,
Whoa.
Nice. It's beautiful, isn't it? There?
It is.
We watched something. Didn't somebody on Place in the Sun go there? Well, because we love watching Place in the Sun. And didn't they go near the Canal du Midi?
They did. They went right at the far end of it, the bottom end of it.
Really nice.
And it did look nice. So Bruce and Catherine Moss, a friend recommended you to us, and must admit we have watched all the vids over a 3-week period.
Wow. Are you okay?
Mr. B, you're a younger version of Jeremy Clarkson. Kenneth, come on, sit down. Come on, mate, sit down.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is.
You're a younger version of Jeremy Clarkson. A man we feel doesn't want to upset anyone, but a man who speaks the truth, his mind, and says what we feel a lot of folks simply won't have the bollocks to say, i.e. how it is.
He does.
I don't
Absolutely.
duck anything.
He does.
Thank you. You're a dying breed, Mr. B. My wife also says you can tell you're an old-fashioned type in that you look after Mrs. B and protect her. I do my best, but she's from Yorkshire. Sometimes she doesn't really need looking after, or sometimes she doesn't even want protecting because she's from Yorkshire. But I do my best.
It is very nice. He is very protecting. Yeah.
Right, here it comes. Oh boy, as soon as we started to watch the podcast, we couldn't get this question down quick enough. And we both think we know what you will mention, because before we had our boat lifted out and taken to the Canal du Midi, we lived on a marina for 12 years, so know all the politics, etc. Question: list the top 3 things that annoy you about marina life.
Oh,
God.
wow.
We sat recently on the back deck and got through a couple of bottles of red wine over here whilst debating this. Hope you include this into the podcast. And it really is just for fun, but we would seriously love to know what Mr. B really thinks. As a starter for 10, our top 3 things were: 1, Mr. Know-it-all, but never really been out on his boat. Our biggest pet hate, because like you, we never went out on the marina in the 12 years we lived there. Number 2, oh, that's not how you tie your boat up. We just tie our boat up the bloody best way we can. Number 3,
read that.
when are you actually going out? You never use the boat. Oh my God, this really used to annoy us until one day Bruce, my husband, just snapped. And funny enough, the particular chap who used to drone on about it never ever spoke to us again. So there you go, our top 3. What are yours? Over to you, Mrs. B. I love these questions. Top 3 things that annoy you living on a marina.
I think probably the first one, because we share facilities. People are selfish when they're sharing facilities. I'll give you an example of that. We have 3 blocks of facilities on here with washers and dryers and things, and most people are good and nice, and they use them sensibly. But you get some people that will leave things in a tumble dryer for not just minutes or hours, but days in a tumble dryer, which means it's blocked them for anybody else using it. Yeah.
Can I just say, we have actually got our own separate washer and separate dryer.
We have, yeah.
But
they're not very big, so I can do a big load when I got there. So misuse of the facilities. Think about your neighbours. Be not be selfish. The second one, Marina. Can we do one-on-ones? Because I can think about it then.
Yeah, okay, yeah, mine is, as I say, I love living here, but sometimes communication. in terms of what's going on and a few of the bits and pieces, it's really sometimes it's not as good as it could be. I say that because I'm Mr. Corporate in kind of my job, and communication is really important. Clear, concise, on time, and regular. And maybe it's Marina life, but it's not great here sometimes.
Number two, it doesn't annoy me anymore because it doesn't happen anymore. But when we first moved on, what would have been ideal is if we'd got an allocated parking space. Now, because we're on the pontoon that we're on now, we have our own little car park and we can park basically where we want to park, which is brilliant. But where we were before, it was sort of like first come, first served, which is fine. There's lots of parking spaces and stuff. But sometimes if you've got lots of shopping or something else, you want to be nearish to your boat. So allocated parking would have been nice. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I would have liked that. And that used to annoy me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with that one as well. That does rather frustrate me. You know, we've talked about it in previous vlogs. It's not cheap if you think living on a boat, certainly this size, with these type of mooring fees. It's not cheap living here. And we have visited other marinas where, you know, you do get allocated car parking spaces. There's plenty of space to park in terms of where we're moored now, but an allocated car parking space would be really nice. So yeah, I agree. Go with that.
Also with that, because we have to move, when you're residential, you have to move twice a year. So we'd be in 18 berth this year and 17 next year. And so you could have your parking space that goes with your whichever one you're on. So if you don't like where you're parking, you know that you will get that.
Yeah.
Anyway, my third one is people that when you say good morning, hello, they just completely blank you. And it's not that they can't hear you, because they're looking straight at you. It's when they decide that, no, they don't want to say hello or good morning. I know some people, you don't know what people are going through. Somebody might be upset, they might have had a bereavement, they might something. But just a little, you know, would be nice. And I'm not saying there's many. There's one or two people that will do that, but there's not many. But that gets my back. And me and another guy on the Marina, will rename nameless, we're going to kill them with kindness, because if you don't smile at us first, we will continue to smile at you and say good morning until we eventually get you down, and you do. So that gets my goat.
My third pet peeve, again, it's going to sound like I'm criticising Marina. I'm not. As I say, I think it's a fabulous place to live, but sometimes it's a gated community, and sometimes, you know, the gates, will break, wear and tear and all that. And sometimes it takes an age to get things, particularly the gates, repaired. That really does frustrate me sometimes. I know others will listen to this if you are in a marina thinking, what is he on about? But it's just my pet hate. So that's our top three.
Yes.
Thank you.
We should have sat with some red wine and done the same, shouldn't we?
Thank you ever so much for that,
yeah,
Bruce
very
and
good
Catherine.
question.
Yeah.
Very good question.
Next one, anonymous from Mercia.
Ooh.
And it really is anonymous from Mercia. Just wanted to start by saying we think you, Pet and Kenneth, are lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Need more folk like you on Mercia, even though I've just had a bit of a pop at it. Thank you. Mr. B, you should go and work there. You'd have that place sorted out in 6 months.
He would.
All I'm going to say is how do I put this? Corporate life and marina life are night and day different. Totally understand if you don't feel able to read this out, but just wanted to ask. What do you feel about the recent price increases on the marina, particularly for the wide beams, who are now having to pay the same as the rest at last? Also, you recently visited Stratford-upon-Avon and Tatton Hall Marina. Do you think their fees are reasonable for a wide beam? Cheers, and again, if you don't feel it okay to read this out, we totally understand. Maybe catch up with you both whilst you're out and about walking, Kenneth. Hey, anonymous from Mercia, say we don't duck anything. What do we think about... So, how do I put this into context? There's been some historical charging for wide beam boats on the marina that haven't been in line with what we and others who've not been on the marina that long pay. So in essence, I would invite anyone who doesn't have a clue what I'm talking about, go and have a look at Mercia Marina's website and click on the mooring tariff. In essence, if you've got a wide beam, you pay double because you're taking 2 spaces of narrow boats, and you pay on the length. So ours is a 70-foot boat. If you have a look on the website, you'll see exactly what we pay. Times that by 2, that's what we pay. We're relatively new on the marina, 2 years next month. But as I say, there's been boats here not paying that. And we've got a lot of friends here who perhaps, we don't know, but perhaps haven't been paying the full price. All I will say personally is I think it's the right thing to do, because why should we be paying what we're paying and others aren't? I don't think that's fair. But I also appreciate that's going to come as quite a shock, because the mooring fees have also gone up this year on the marina. As I've said earlier, it's not a cheap type of place to live on a boat in a marina. So the mooring fees have gone up for those folk. Also, the general fees to bring them into line with what we're paying have also gone up. So that's a big increase. And that, for some folk, will no doubt, cost of living crisis, it's going on, it's real, will be a challenge. And I do sympathise. But broadly speaking, I absolutely agree it's the right thing to do. Why should we be paying, what we're paying and other folk aren't paying that? Don't think that's fair.
Maybe phased in very, very gradually.
It has been, and I kind of go with that, but I also believe it's been communicated well enough. Even though I've got some frustrations with how things are communicated on the marina, I do think this one's been communicated in advance. It's just a tough one. That's my view on that.
It's very tough, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of Stratford-on-Avon and Tattenhall, I'm not going to get into the debate in terms of you can't live there. We've spoken to folk. If we ever were to move, not that we're going to, we've no plans to move our boat, but if we ever went to Stratford-on-Avon, you could live there, not a problem. So it's a fact. The fees there are no different to the fees here.
No, they're the same.
They're exactly the same. They're a smidgen more, actually, to go and live in Stratford-on-Avon Marina. And as I've said before, I would go there in a heartbeat. But right now, it's not the right time to do it. Kenneth, come on, sit down.
Come on, good boy.
Tattenhall, the fees there are considerably cheaper to go and put your boat there. It's a lovely marina. It's a very peaceful marina. It certainly won't be for me, for Mrs. B.
No.
For me, it would be, but you've got to have. But as I say, we're not looking to move a boat. Tattenhall mooring fees considerably cheaper, but again, you haven't got the services at Tattenhall Marina. You've got a nice little cafe, little restaurant, a bar. That's it in one building.
Yeah.
That's you've got a little chandlery, but that's it.
And
you haven't got what you've got at Mercia.
It's in a lovely area too.
Beautiful.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's beautifully maintained.
Yeah, it is.
But Stratford, as I say, is a brand new marina. There's no facilities there, but you wouldn't want facilities in Stratford because you're in the centre in 2 minutes walking.
Yeah.
So, it's like anything. You need to go and look, don't you?
Yeah, you do, yeah. And I love this because what we've got. I'm sat here now, when I look out the window, because we haven't got a boat next to us at the moment, I can see the willow tree.
Which is the cafe.
And I can see, our little grocery shop thing, and there's things for us to do and go and do, and the boardwalk's just over there with a bar and stuff. So there's all sorts of things for us to do, and it's nice. I like that.
Yeah, as I say, it's horses for courses. I hope that's kind of answered your question, Anonymous from Mercia. I say I'm not looking to offend anyone in terms of, it's just my view in terms of the mooring fees. I'm not asking you to, agree with it if you don't, but respect it. But it is my view. But thank you.
Thank you.
Scott and Vanessa Price. And we know this area very well. Bourton on the Water in the Cotswolds. We used to go there a lot for a bag of chips and a little walk around on the motorbike and stuff.
Was that where we went to get that Indian takeaway that time and spent a fortune? Was that Bourton or was that Morton?
No, that was Morton in the Marsh.
Morton in the Marsh.
Which is another part of the Cotswolds. So Scott and Vanessa have written, we have watched all the bike vlogs and love them. We recently found you again and have just sat and watched all the boat vlogs.
Oh,
fantastic fun, and well done you pair for doing what you say you're going to do. Although we did get a feeling that when Mr. B says he's going to do something, it's already done.
Correct.
Correct.
When he says he's thinking about it, it's already a done deal.
Done. Just wanted to drop you a short line to say thank you for mentioning your Dacia Duster Prestige SUV. We also bought the very same one a few weeks back and absolutely love it. Like yours, it was just around £24,000 and we do truly love it. It's permanent four-wheel drive and that engine is amazing. Have you watched the viral video yet on YouTube about how it compares to an 85,000 Land Rover? I have actually, and I would invite anyone to go and watch that video. I won't spoil it. Anyway, we just wanted to thank you for mentioning how pleased you are with it, and it's also saved us around £15,000 to £20,000 because we thought that's what we'd need to spend around about the 45,000 mark to get a decent SUV.
That's a lot of money, that is.
Mrs. B, please, please, please say hello to Scott and blow him a kiss, please.
Hello, Scott.
It's your first strike, as I say. P.S. Every time I put on my motorbike glove, Scott's gloves, Scott says it's like Mrs. B's PTs. I swear to God, I will never forget his face when you made that video. Pure carry on. However, Mrs. B, I haven't got your rack. There's nothing to say.
It's not...
Scott and Vanessa, you haven't really got a question there.
It's after the watershed, so we'll find no need to take
Is it?
out.
Anyway, thank you. Listen, thanks for finding us again.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate that.
And just very quickly, just very, very quickly, because we have said it before, Mrs. B's PTs were all about pillion tips when we used to have the motorbike. And it was a bit carry-on, wasn't it? I was
a bit carry-on.
A little bit like Barbara Windsor, let's say.
Yes. Thank you. Vince and Sue Richards from New England in the USA, formerly Sheffield.
Oh.
Mrs. B, hell yes to Sheffield. There you go. Now that's just showing off. We always watch you three, and recently we saw Mrs. B sat on that amazing back deck at the table, and it looked lovely. And then we saw another picture on social media of you sat with some friends on the back deck. We think it was your back deck. Because what looked like an enormous table. So, how does the table work? Does it extend? Or do you have another table you put up? Or even another boat? Please just tell us. You don't need to video it, but we really do need to be put out of our misery. P.S. We are saving like crazy mad to come back to the UK. Oh. Like you, buy a Y-beam and moor it somewhere on the K&A.
Oh, it's lovely.
K&A's lovely.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Wish us luck, please.
Oh,
by the way, when we do get the money, it's all your fault. Since watching you pair, Vince just keeps saying, "Come on, love, let's just do what the Bonnevilles done and start to live our life." That's lovely. Thank you. Look, the table, yes, it's got two leaves that you open up. It's got a couple of extender arms underneath, and basically it doubles in size. So we haven't got another boat that we just entertain on. Wish we had. And we haven't got another table. It's a really nice table, though, must admit. So yeah, we just basically fold the leaves out, and you can comfortably get. Well, we've had six of us recently, as you've said, sat around it. So thank you. And also, not just because you're from Sheffield, good luck with getting your boat. And we always say this, and we always mean it. Drop us a little email
let us
and
know
keep
where
us
you
in
are.
the loop. We'd love to see how you get on.
Sheffielders need to stick together, you know.
New Yorkies. But thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony and Carol Watkins from our wide beam, Lulu. Anthony and Carol haven't said where they're from, which is absolutely fine. We watch every week and really do love the vlogs, and the podcasts are really enjoyable as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you mind us asking if you are starting to worry about winter and fuel / heating prices? We are both retired and are starting to worry about how we can heat the boat over the coming winter months. There was talk of a one-off payment for folk who live off-grid like we do. Don't know what's happened with that, do you? Please keep these lovely videos coming and give little Kenneth a hug and a kiss from us.
Oh, we will.
We have had 2 golden retrievers over the years, and they truly are the most amazing breeds. You'll never ever be disappointed or without love. Yeah, we love this little fella. Anthony and Carol, thank you. We've looked into the fuel thing, haven't we?
Yeah. At the moment, because we all belong to on Facebook, we have a community Facebook where we all belong, and we discuss things, we sell things, we keep each other informed on things, that sort of thing. It's Facebook, and somebody actually started a link in that about emailing our MP regarding this one-off payment. and at the moment it's still work in progress. So we don't know. It's still something.
Yeah.
Somebody said come the autumn something will be done. Well, are we in autumn now, or is it coming into
Well,
autumn?
yeah,
I don't know.
technically, yeah, we're in autumn.
So yeah, we've seen it, and there's been a lot of talk about it, and like I said, there's quite a long thread on our Facebook site. So watch this space, really.
Yeah, and look, you know, I don't really care what anyone says and thinks about this. I personally believe everyone should be worried about, you know, heating and the cost of living, because as I said earlier, it's really challenging at the moment for a lot of folk. You know, and if they're saying otherwise, I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure. You know what planet they're living on. To be honest with you, yeah, you know, are we worried about heating the boat? Not worried about heating it, because as I say, we've had the stove done, and you know, at the moment it's fantastic. Am I worried about how much it's going to cost? Yeah, because like most things, you know, we've got to pay for it. You know, we think we've done our numbers and our maths. I've done the maths right in terms of, you know, how much it's going to cost, and you know, you kind of absorb it, don't you? You know, you cut back here and, you know, bit more there. But at the end of the day, I just think at the moment it's tough for everyone. It really is, and I know that's not really answered your question. And it's so difficult because it's so unique. Everyone's on a budget.
Yeah, I think now we've got the multi-fuel, it gives us a bigger choice as to where we buy our fuel from, and
Yeah.
and what type of fuel we buy.
Yeah.
So in a way, we're in a lot better position than some people that are having to rely on
Diesel.
Yeah, and or if you're on land and having to worry about, you
Yeah.
know, you're stuck with this particular gas company or that particular electricity company. So with it being a multi-fuel, we can shop around, really shop around, you know, and find a good
And I
deal.
know that's a good point. You can on land, you can swap your, you know, provider and all this stuff. But you know, I do think, you know, that's a good point Mrs. B's made. You know, keep your eye on what's what in terms of what you are buying. You know, because you're on a boat like us.
Yeah, we've had neighbours tell us, say, "Oh, try this one," because a lot of it is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because if you go for the very, very cheapest, it might be false economy.
Yeah.
Because you're annoying your neighbours because it's like plumes of black
Oh,
smoke, or it burns too quickly.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes a good idea just to get some. You know,
It's-
what are you using? What works for you?
I'd love, I mean, it's not possible here. I would love a mooring with a little garden and a little place to, you know, start collecting your wood in the summer and start to get, but we can't. You know, we can't do that. But you know, again, yeah, you know, just keep your eye out and just keep looking for the bargains. But you know, it's like anything. You know, I've said before, I firmly believe, you know, sometimes you just have to trim a bit here and trim a bit there. Someone said to us recently, you know, oh, you've not gone on holiday this year. No, we've spent £24,000 on a car. We've had the boat blacked. We've had the stove converted. We've bought our little dog.
Most importantly.
You know, and that's an awful lot. Now, to others, that's well north of £30,000, and to others that will be nothing. But to us, that's
It's
a
a lot
chunk
of
of
money.
money.
Yeah.
So you know, we haven't had our couple of holidays this year. So you know, it's things like that. You kind of, you know, you have to manage your budget, don't you? But hopefully, you know, it kind of just keep your eye on the market.
And being on the boat
prices.
is actually
Yeah.
like being on holiday anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'm on a permanent holiday, me, because I'm retired. So I just like, it's brilliant.
Right, moving on. Ruth and Amanda Roberts from our Canterbury Aqualine, from the wonderful K&A. So I'm getting a bit fed up with the
Oh,
K&A.
all these
I'm
K&As.
fed up with the K&A.
Yeah.
Can we have another canal, please? Joking.
so nice.
We have just stumbled across the channel after seeing a rather enticing social media sucks thumbnail on one of your podcasts. I think it might be the last one you did. It's a couple
Last
back.
podcast or something, right?
Oh, it
Yeah.
might have been, yeah. Yes, by the way, to your views on social media, and yes to you, Mr. B, in that you have a wonderful way about you. Very bright and no shit. Mrs. B, I bet he is a riot to be around privately, because we also think he's very funny. You should go into politics, Mr. B. We'd vote for you.
No.
Imagine me in politics.
No. Oh, it'd just be horrendous. It would be horrendous. It would be like Clarkson.
Imagine me at PM Questions. We have a question, and if you read it out, we'll be utterly thrilled. Here you go. We know the roof isn't finished yet, but just wanted to ask if you would do it again if you had to. The one thing we have found about boats, all boats, is the roofs eventually will need to be painted at some point. Doesn't matter if it's new or old, they all need painting, don't they? Absolutely. Anyone thinks your boat roof is going to last forever, you're delusional, so agree. We have had a quote, by golly, we had to sit down to get it done, but after pricing up the paint and a few bits and pieces to get the job done, we've been thinking about going to do it ourselves. What do you think? Thanks again for reading this out, and keep the great vids coming, and we'd love an update on the roof at some point. In a heartbeat, go do it yourself. We had a quote, it was thousands of pounds to do the roof. I must admit, the quote was to go back to bare metal and then build it up that way. So I haven't obviously gone back to bare metal. I will show you before the bad weather comes where I've got to on the roof. It's pretty much done in terms of the first phase.
You were doing it today, weren't you?
Yeah, I've look at my hands. I finished the last little section today. I think I'm going to run out of time this year. Not a problem, because it's had one coat. That's fine. Yeah, go and have a go. Seriously, go and have a go. I spent some time at our chandlers here, Midland Chandlers. Again, people have a view on them. I had some fantastic advice. I ordered the proper paint. All told, the paint cost a few £100 to get it, but it's the proper paint for this boat and for the roof. And I've taken my time with it. It's not perfect. I would score myself an 8 out of 10, maybe a 9 in terms of what it looks like, but it's not finished. The one thing that I didn't quite appreciate is you really, really are, in the hands of the weather gods. In the UK here, we've had a reasonable summer, but certain temperatures, when it gets too hot, as you know, you can't paint. The paint, it's just not going to be great for the paint.
You can fry an egg on the ceiling when it gets really, really
so,
hot. It's that hot.
Yeah, there were moments where I thought, oh, I've got plenty of time, and here we are at the end of September, and I've just finished the final panel today. So have a go. And you know what? At the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't look quite right, so what? Do it again, and next time I come to do the roof, it'll be a lot better. So yeah, have a go. And for those, not that anyone here has said, oh, look at the state of that. In fact, it's been quite the contrary. I've been really flattered with some of the comments from folk that we, more next to. But if you ever do get anyone, oh, you should do this, should do that, just send them my way.
Or go back to the 3 dislikes. People who know.
Oh yeah.
Know it all.
Yeah. Have a go basically, and save yourself several thousands of pounds. Rob and Kath from a boat not that far away.
Ooh.
Oh, Mr. B! Exclamation mark. I think you have prompted us to take a jolly good look at our lives.
What are you doing? What have you said?
Mrs. B, you continue to get me in trouble, as I still think you're the prettiest girl on YouTube.
Aww.
Kath is always saying I have a sweet spot for you. I'd also like to add that whilst I may have a sweet spot for you, I've been married to my Kath for 51 years and she's my everything.
Brilliant.
Rob, that's a really nice
Fabulous
thing
to say that, yeah. Lucky Kath.
We have been liverboards, brackets, 60 foot wide beam, closed brackets, for 6 years now. And when we recently heard Mr. B talk about how he couldn't just sit on the back deck all day and do nothing, it hit home. That was us. We had somehow got into a rut. We now have Jess, brackets, 6-month-old black Labrador, close brackets, and life has transformed itself. We are like most retired folk on a budget, but Mr. B, you're right, don't just sit on the back deck. It's also good for the waistline. Getting a dog is something we should have done years ago. We simply love life now, and the back deck is sat on only for a few hours in the evening. Mr. B, thank you. You are my new life coach. Hey, come on, the invoice is on its way. P.S. Have you lost any friends since getting Kenneth? Reason we ask is your lifestyle seems to have changed, and ours has dramatically. Do you know, a couple of things there, Rob and Kath. Fantastic. Well done you for getting a nice little 6-month-old black lab.
Yeah, lovely.
And as for being your life coach, thank you. have we lost any friends? No.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
And do you know what? If we had have done, they weren't our friends.
No, exactly. If you've lost friends and they're not your friends anyway. We do things differently now because obviously Kenneth to us comes first before anything.
Yeah.
His needs and stuff. But the friends that we've got just fall in line with that.
Yeah.
You know, fall in line with that. That sounds awful, that doesn't it?
Well,
our opinion is, if our dog isn't welcome, then we don't want to be there. That's as simple as that. If we can't take the dog, we don't want to go. And when we've invited friends and we've invited friends onto our boat, we've said every time, you must bring your dog with you on our boat because we wouldn't want to not you come without your dog. So, and you know, we've got friends who have got dogs and we've got friends who haven't got dogs, and everybody's fine. How could you not love Kenneth?
It's a big, you know, I've banged on about this loads. It's a massive commitment.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's a massive commitment.
Huge.
And, you know, we now come as a 3.
Yeah.
That's it. And
That's
Mrs.
it.
B's right. If dogs aren't welcome,
We
we're
don't
not
want to go.
going.
We don't want to
You
go.
know, we're not the folk. And again, I'm not criticising. Please, I'm not criticising. You know, we've booked our holiday next year. We've got a nice little farmhouse with a pool in France. We're going as a 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those days are long gone. We will never leave Kenneth with anyone. And that's no disrespect to the folk that are around him that love him. But we come as a 3. You know, it's a holiday for me, my wife, and Kenneth.
Yeah.
So, as I say, we've lost no friends.
No. No, luckily we haven't.
Yeah.
But then we don't have many friends anyway.
Because of me. Apparently, I'm like Jeremy Clarkson. Right, moving to thank you.
Thank you for that.
Oh,
And brilliant that you got your little.
This is the one. This is the one I've been dying to read out.
Oh.
Not that all the others haven't been good. This is the one. What's your face? Martin and Maria Williamson from the Peak Forest Canal. Oh my God. 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 Oh my God.
Wow.
Mr. B, you have to read this out. Please read it out. We were out walking our dogs a few days back, and what went cruising past us? Love, life, triumph, narrowboat.
Wow.
We usually have at least one phone with us, but on that morning we didn't. Bold, absolutely devastated and gutted. We would have taken so many pics and sent it to you both.
Yeah.
We went back the following day to see, with our phones, to see if Love Life Triumph was there, but no sign of the boat. We're on a limited time with walking the dogs and going to work. However, your old boat looked bloody lovely. And Martin said, "Oh my God, that's Love Life Triumph. Shall we wait and say hello to both Mr. and Mrs. B?" I said, "Don't be such a silly bloody fool. They're now on the wide beam." He can really be silly sometimes.
Oh, if you'd have knocked on and said, "Mr. and Mrs. B."
We just wanted to let you know,
Wow.
your old boat looked absolutely gorgeous, and we still walk the dogs along the same part of the Peak Forest Canal. And if we do see your boat again, we promise we will take a photograph and send it to you.
Definitely, yeah, because we've said that because we never took Love Life out. And
Hold on. So, quick question:
go
do
on.
you regret not using her?
Well, do you know, it's really funny you should say that because was it last week or the week before? The week before we were in Llangollen.
Yes.
And we obviously crossed the Pontysillet, but we also, before we did that, we went in the other direction where the canal sort of joins into it. And as we were walking down, we thought, oh, do you know,
It's just such a lovely part of the world.
that and the Peak Forest, because when
Yeah,
we've watched
yeah.
Foxes Afloat, I think that's Colin's favourite, isn't it, the Peak, and it is gorgeous. And a little bit of us thought, oh, it is quite romantic. The sun was shining and it was lovely and the water just looked really nice and all the river. And you think, oh, actually,
I do.
yeah.
I
yeah.
100%
Yeah.
regret not using it, and I've said to Mrs. B, because of maybe a little bit more bias towards me, maybe in terms of the travel I've done on my bike, and Mrs. B, we've both travelled extensively. We're adventurous folk, and I do think if we had have taken Love Life Triumph out of the marina once, I actually don't think we'd have probably come back that often. So I really regret that, genuinely regret
Yeah,
it.
me too, me too.
Now, that's gone past us. It doesn't stop us in years, months to come hiring a boat, but
We could hire a narrowboat.
we could hire an airboat. No, but I do seriously regret it, and there's something inside me. It's never going to happen now, but there's something inside me that absolutely knows if we had have taken a boat out, I don't think we'd have come back here that often. I really don't. But hey, it is what it is.
But
and
also, Mr. P works, and I know you can get internet
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, but you still have to be,
Yeah, yeah.
conscious of that, don't you?
Yeah, but something inside me would have said, I don't know. So, hey, look, it's turned out this way for a reason, obviously.
And we are looking at getting, what do you call them, ribs?
Yes,
Is it a rib?
a rib.
A rib. It's a boat.
Rigid, inflatable.
A little inflatable with an outboard motor.
Yeah,
we
we're
seriously
going
are.
to Llangollen on
Yeah,
that.
we'll go to Llangollen
The
and-
three of us in life vests.
And go over the aqueduct. No, I'm not going over that aqueduct today. It was far too high.
So, Martin and Maria, thank you. I've
Thank
been
you.
dying
Oh,
when that
yeah.
email came in. So that email coming about a month ago.
I'm so
So-
glad that Love Life Triumph
Yeah.
is going out and doing what she should have done when we had her. And
Yeah.
that's going out and having adventures.
Yeah.
So if you do see her again, please send some pictures because we'd
Oh,
love to see her.
Yeah,
We love
you've
little
put in your
Love Life.
email, so
Yeah,
please, if you do,
thank you.
you've got the email address, obviously, because you've sent this in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they've put, please keep the videos coming. We really do enjoy watching you. Thank
We
you.
certainly will.
That is it.
Wow.
As always, folks, thank you if you've stuck with us to the end of this podcast. Thank you.
Well done.
We say a lot of the time, these only work with your questions, so please keep your questions
Any
coming.
question,
Yeah.
any question.
Darren Evans 05@gmail.com. And as this has proved, we don't duck anything. So any question doesn't have to be boat related, because if it is, we don't really know how to answer it, to be honest with you. We
Don't
just
ask-
live on a
don't ask us
bungalow
anything
that floats.
technical.
Don't, seriously don't. But no, thank you. And next week, it's our weekly vlog. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
See you next week.
Oh, dear me knees.
Oh, watch Kenneth is falling to
Yeah.
sleep.
Kenneth, by the way,
Isn't it
is
table?
down here. In fact, let me show you Kenneth
fast
before we
asleep.
go.
Yeah.
Let's show you Kenneth.
He's just waking up now.
There's
Just
Mrs. B. There's our fire. Oh, look. Oh, look at that. And there's our lovely Kenneth, look.